Rundown.
Yes, indeed. Davis Fang joins us live from Sydney, Australia. Good day, mate.
Good day, David and Renee. Great to be back.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic.
Good. So how's Sydney? What's the weather like?
It's a balmy 30 degrees. I do understand that Renee is feeling a little bit under the weather. I'm sure this would help tremendously.
30 degrees, lovely. Yeah.
Oh, have we got a bad line?
Yeah, right. Get rid of it. So a busy week again in terms of tech. Let's talk about Microsoft first of all.
Oh, Microsoft. So have we heard about the AI, the artificial intelligence program that can pass a US bar exam?
Yes.
Have we, guys?
Yeah, Chat GPT. Yes. So we spoke about this on the talk this week as well. I mean, so the real problem, and maybe I'm just filling in for those people who don't know at home, but it seems to me that you basically stick in various parameters, or kids do, and it writes entire essays. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, it basically does. And this is something that's got a lot of the massive tech companies really worried, because it might eat into their lunch a fair bit. But what's really exciting is that Microsoft has invested $10 billion into the program, and they're going to integrate it into Bing. Do you guys remember Bing?
I mean, what is Bing? What was Bing ever for?
So basically, if you don't want to Google, if you're a really alternative person, you would use their Microsoft search engine, which is Bing. And now this is their chance to really sort of finally get a few users, because basically with Chat GPT, you'll be able to type in your query like, what's the best TV network in the world? And you'll get like an essay on why TalkTV is so great.
Oh, we like it more.
Yeah, we like it a lot. Okay, so obviously they're integrating this. So Bing is still around, is it?
It's still around. It's making decent money, actually. But I think this is their first chance in a long while to actually claw a bit of market share back from Google.
And how do they expect this to work? So obviously I understand that if you're on a big machine, that you can get it to write essays that you can submit to university or to college or to wherever. What's the role of it if you actually have it in this software? Is it just that? Is it for homework?
Yes. I think we should separate ChatGPT itself and its integration into Bing.
Yes.
On Bing itself, do you know how when you Google something, like, how tall is the Eiffel Tower, it'll, give you a short paragraph about it?
Yes.
Basically, what ChatGPT's integration will do is give you an actual, a cohesive answer that looks like that a human wrote it. And there'll also be a chat feature where you can basically chat to the AI bot as well, integrated straight into Bing.
Whoa. So can you ask it questions then?
Yeah, basically, you can ask it, why does David Bull look so fantastic every morning?
and computer returns error. Really interesting. But what does that mean for the future of education and science?
It's quite worrying, because
really
it's very difficult to define what's human and what's AI.
So apparently, plagiarism programs can't be used on it because it doesn't work like that. So educators have no idea of knowing who has written what. It actually is the final step in the dumbing down of the education of people, in my opinion. Well, I think it's a tragedy.
Although you could argue that it then alleviates people from doing burdensome tasks.
Why do we want to alleviate people
I don't know. I'm
essays?
just trying to find a really good way of spinning it. I don't know.
I think it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will lead to a lot more in-person exams. So basically,
good
paper, written exams in 90 minutes, stuff like that.
You and I did written exams.
Exactly.
Essays.
Yeah, no, I agree. And
I feel like I was the last generation that did that, so it's coming back now.
Good. Right, let's talk about Galaxy.
Yeah, so did we all watch the Samsung Unpacked event this week?
Can't say I did.
Me neither.
Oh.
Well, during that event, basically, they announced a number of things, including a number of laptops, and also, most excitingly, the S23 Ultra smartphone, which is their brand new smartphone for the year. And a lot of people are unfortunately saying that it's not a particularly exciting upgrade, as it does basically look identical to last year's one. It starts at £1,249, and it does have some cool features, like a 200 megapixel camera, which is way more than what you get on even like a high-end mirrorless camera these days. Unfortunately, a 200 megapixel camera, if you can imagine that on a tiny phone sensor, it does mean that you'll probably get some very, very noisy images. But it's got this thing which basically combines 16 pixels into one super pixel and basically turns it back into a normal camera. So does it need the 200 megapixels? Probably not, but you're getting it anyway.
Does it actually make phone calls?
It does make that. And do you know what else?
No.
It's also got a new processor, the Snapdragon Gen 2 Series 8. So basically it means it's up there with the iPhone now for both performance and battery life when it was trailing last year.
Right.
So
seems a lot of
fun.
money if it looks like the other one.
Yeah. Are you guys going to upgrade?
No.
No.
A resounding no then.
Right. So, Galaxy Book?
Yeah, so although Samsung does compete against Apple a lot with their smartphones, it's a different story with their laptops until this year, possibly, because they've launched the Galaxy Book 3 Ultra, which is their MacBook Pro 16-inch competitor. It's basically just a typical thin and light notebook, but it does have some really interesting features. It's got an OLED screen, which is basically the type of technology that your smartphone uses, so it looks really nice, really great contrast. And it's also got the top-in-line processors and NVIDIA graphics cards, but these both run really hot, and in such a slim laptop we might see some overheating issues, but I guess you'll find out on Valentine's Day, which is when pre-order starts, and it starts at £24.99. I mean, is there a better Valentine's present than that?
How much? Sorry, say that again.
How much?
£2,500.
Because you said £25, I thought originally.
I'm getting one.
I was getting one at that price. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I mean,
yes,
I
it's
still
a very
think
fast, high-end notebook.
I mean, it's very difficult if you are a user of a Mac, for example, and you then want to move across. It's really difficult to do that because all your data is you're sort of in the ecosystem, aren't you, of one or other of those companies?
It's not even that, and I say this as a Mac user. It's actually going to a different processing and operating system. It's almost like someone's cut your right arm off and you've got to learn all over again.
Yeah, that's
really
totally
hard.
true. But they have integrated this laptop with the Samsung tablets and phones. So if you are a current Samsung user, this would be perfect for you, as long as it doesn't overheat.
Okay, so I'm very excited about our next one, a folding screen MacBook.
Yeah, so for years we've learned that Apple really hates touchscreens on laptops. Steve Jobs famously said that it was a terrible way to use a laptop and it's really unergonomic. But rumors have it that Apple was actually working on a touchscreen MacBook now, but not an ordinary one, because it's basically a giant screen that folds in half, sort of like the Samsung phones that we've been seeing recently. It's quite exciting. It's going to have a 20.5-inch screen, so it's pretty big. And it's going to come out in 2025. So we've got a little bit of time to wait to save up, because no doubt it's going to be extremely expensive.
So is this, I'm a bit confused. So is this like going to replace what, an iPad, or is it actually replacing a computer?
The thing is, we don't actually know right now. We don't know if it's going to be called a MacBook, an iPad, or something else altogether. But all we know is that it's going to have a folding display, and Apple have been working on it for many years, so hopefully it'll be good. Lenovo already has made a similar laptop that's flopped, to say the least. So hopefully Apple can spice up this particular market.
Now, also, in terms of smartphones, Randy made that very pithy comment about does it make telephone calls. But my understanding is actually smartphones aren't doing that well in terms of sales, or certainly the last quarter of 22, that didn't do very well, did it?
Yes, because the last quarter of 2022 was actually quite groundbreaking for smartphone sales, because it was actually 20% lower year on year than the previous year, and was actually less than the third quarter of the same year, which is incredibly disappointing for the smartphone makers. Although they did manage to sell 1.2 billion smartphones in 2022, people have blamed the lower sales on the rise of living costs, costs and also inflation and fun stuff like that. Obviously, Samsung especially has really struggled in the smartphone business recently. But their latest release obviously isn't going to incite too much more excitement. But even Apple lost 8%. And people are saying that it's basically because smartphones are getting more and more boring year on year. They're basically the same. And people are waiting 2, 3, even 4 years to upgrade. So, like, how long have you guys used your phones for?
Well, it's extraordinary. We were talking about this earlier, I think with Tom, but the phone has now become more than a phone, hasn't it? It's now your personal communicator, but it controls all your devices. That's the bit I can't quite get round. The fact that I can control my heating, for example, using my telephone, which is extraordinary. So they're no longer phones. They're almost like a control unit for your life.
So mine is 3 years old. And although I'm an Apple user, I literally stick with my phone until it no longer functions as a phone.
And so that's what happened with my one, which is I had it until I couldn't hear anything, until the speaker broke, and then I got a new one, and that was recently. So I've just upgraded.
Yeah.
Not all good.
Yeah, the thing is, year on year, smartphones are basically the same, as we've seen with these latest Samsung Galaxies. So there's no real point in the average person on upgrading every year. However, smartphone makers are desperate, so expect some really good trade-in deals over this next year.
Perfect. Davis, always a pleasure. Enjoy Sydney. Enjoy 30 degrees. I hope you get out in the sun. Oh, no, it's dark or something. I don't know.
Thank you.
Very good to see you, Davis. That's Davis Fang, our tech presenter in Sydney, Australia. And that was today's Tech Rundown.
Tech Rundown.
Right, one more